Good to go? Welcome everyone to the Arizonans For Safe Access meeting. I'm so happy to have you with us tonight for our year-end wrap-up holiday party. Thanks for coming out. My name is Kathy Inman. I'm the Executive Director of MomForce AZ. Arizonans For Safe Access is a project of MomForce AZ, my nonprofit, that is working to make the world a better place through education and advocacy. Where you are here is the Half Moon Grill. I want to thank the Half Moon Grill for having us. Thank our waitress. We will be back here on the third Tuesday of the month every month to propel the mission of ending cannabis prohibition in Arizona. I think we should give a big hand for that because that's an important mission. Why we're here tonight? Hey, we're here to celebrate. We're here to celebrate 2015. We're here to reflect on the last year and the mission of MomForce, which has been to end cannabis prohibition, of course. That's the first mission of MomForce. But tonight we're really going to draw attention to some of the antics of our favorite prohibitionists in Arizona. And there's been so many. And why? Because there's been so much information that I found when I started finding out about these folks and what they do, that I thought it's very important that you guys know what's happening so that you can help me stay on top of this next year as we go into, hopefully, legalizing in November of 2016. So, tonight, we're going to do that. We're going to have some testimonies. If any of you here tonight have a testimony on how medical marijuana has helped you, how it's helped someone in your life, you are welcome to come up at the end of this reel and tell folks how it's helped you. We also, if we have some time later, we're going to do a little cannabis trivia, because why not have some fun while we're learning about cannabis? We were very lucky tonight to be joined by some of the folks from the Arizona Liberty Caucus. Thank you. It's headed up by a fellow named John Lorian. John, would you like to come up and say anything?
No, I don't have anything really big to say. Just so you folks know, Arizona Liberty Caucus is a 501c4, and we work to promote individual liberties. So if you'd like to, on issues just like this, but also from privacy to you name it. So we're a constitutional, individual liberties-based organization that works on public education and political action, just like this. And we want to team up with Kathy and appreciate her efforts and everything. But if you'd like to be on our mailing list to see how you can help promote individual liberty in the state of Arizona, we have a sign-up sheet right over here. So feel free on your way out to sign up, or if you have any questions, feel free to talk with me anytime afterwards. Thanks.
Thank you guys for coming out and supporting this mission. And naturally, you know, one of the reasons I came into this to begin with was liberty. Why not? I mean, why is alcohol legal and available and we don't have the liberty and the freedom to be able to use cannabis? So that was one of the reasons I came in. The other was to save lives. Because quite honestly, we know that cannabis has never taken a life and many other substances have. So, I'd also like to thank those of you in this room who have stood up for the cause of ending cannabis prohibition. If you would like to stand up right now, I would like to give you guys an applause, because I'll tell you something. This last couple of years, standing up for this is one of the hardest things that somebody can do. When you know something is right, but it's illegal. Now that's been probably the toughest issue about this. There's so many good people out there that understand this issue, that want to be able to stand up, but they're afraid because they're going to lose their job, that maybe something will happen with their family, their home. They don't want to lose something. So it's very hard to come out and do this. I've come to a point in my life where I've gotten enough information through this cannabis advocacy that I've been on since 2007. I've gotten enough information to know that not only is this a matter of life and liberty, this is a matter of amazing medicine that's helped so many people. And it's helping more and more people every day. So for that, I stand up. I stand up for the 1,800 kids a year who lose their life. They go off to college and they drink too much and they pass away and they die. I stand up for the seniors that are feeling better because they're off of 20 prescriptions and they're down, they're back, getting their jobs back, getting their driver's license back, and they don't have Alzheimer's anymore and they don't have these terrible diseases. I'm standing up for everyone that can't stand up. So I encourage all of you this next year, if you ever had it in your heart, stand up, because this is the time. we could legalize next year. For those of you who have stood up, I won't mention you all by names. There's a lot of you in this room. I would just want to thank you all for standing up, especially with me, because it's been really hard. It's been a tough road to get sick every single time, and I'm standing here, I'm nervous as heck. Every time. We just went up to Verde Valley Senior Center, and I was asked to speak impromptu. And it was frightening. It's frightening every single time because this is still illegal. Yet it's something that's helping so many people. So we stand up. Thank you all for standing up. I have to thank the New Times. Thank you so much, Phoenix New Times, for what you've done. Thank you, Ray Stern. Thank you, Nate Nichols, for the beautiful story that you put in the New Times that lets seniors know that there's an alternative out there, that they don't have to feel like a hippie for using this medicine. Thank you, Ray Stern of the New Times, for outing the information that I don't have time to take apart. What he's done this year has been phenomenal, because when we find this information, this misinformation from groups like MomForce, and Ray has taken it apart bit by bit, and he's found where their funding's going. He's doing all this amazing work. Thank you to you guys. And Nate Nichols, he's new to the New Times, and look what he's doing already. He's here with us tonight, Nate. Thank you. I thank the supporters, those of you that have stood up with me, that have taken your business and stood up. We've got somebody, the senior directory. Carol Chandler's here with us tonight. I said I didn't want to mention everybody by name. We're now partnering with the senior directory, and I think that's absolutely amazing. That's going to be an amazing outreach, and we're going to have an amazing year because of it. Okay, we're going to the next slide. It's time. Let's get into this. Yep, I'm a proud supporter of the Marijuana Policy Project. It's true. These are the folks that gave us our medical rights in Arizona. These are the folks that legalized Colorado, and these are the folks that I believe will be on our ballot this time around. So I am a proud supporter. I'm a volunteer. I'm not paid by them. I don't do anything that has to do with money. The fact is, since 2007, I've worked in pro-cannabis operations that have been free and open to the public, so that no one had anything in the way of this information. They didn't feel that I was selling them anything. And I do to this day. Everything I do is free and open to the public, so people don't look at me funny and go, well, what's she selling? Because there's so many of us in this industry that are selling something, and thank goodness, because it's our time. But there has to be somebody out there, and a bunch of us out there, that are willing to stand up and do it out of voluntary, just the need to give. And I thank everyone who's done that. Why I started into this, as I mentioned before, it's life and liberty. I mean, these are some terrible visuals, but really, when you talk to kids that are in high school and college, what happens? They get drunk and they have terrible times. Terrible things happen. When I was in high school, some of my friends lost their lives. My father ended up in a wheelchair because of alcohol. He eventually died of cirrhosis of the liver. So we all have our story. We all have something where alcohol affected our lives. I found it absolutely ridiculous that alcohol was legal and available and over-advertised to our teens when this substance never took a life on record. So that's why I came out. What did I learn? I couldn't believe what I learned. I learned that all these seniors are on 20 plus prescriptions. How can a doctor know what these interactions are going to be? I say they should do no harm, and they should be careful and protect our seniors. Now, I've met more seniors that have gotten off of half those prescriptions, gotten onto a little bit of this cannabis medicine. They're not necessarily smoking it, but they're using it as medicine, in a pill, in some form. And they're getting their life back, they're getting their health back, they're taking their health into their own hands. Kids, 1 in 5 are on a prescription, a daily maintenance prescription. Many times they're ADHD prescriptions that are made of methamphetamine. Now this, I find insane. Why do we have 1 in 5 kids that need a daily maintenance medication? Our seniors that are on, and everybody who's on pain management, these are opiate pain management that have derivatives of heroin in them. So we've got now a heroin problem because people have been overprescribed these pain medications, and they're looking for, when their prescriptions run out, they're going to the street to fill them. So now we have a heroin epidemic. We've got people addicted to heroin. Cannabis is helping this, so I stand up, I fight further. We have a new Reefer Madness project going on in Arizona. I think most of you guys know this. It's called MomForce. And that's why I'm MomForce. That's why my organization is now called MomForce. It used to be the Phoenix March. I changed it to MomForce because of MomForce and their misinformation. Now, they've grown into another, they split up, and now they're into this other group. It's coincidentally called Arizonans For Responsible Drug Policy. I don't know, about 6 months prior to that was Arizonans For Safe Access. So I don't know if there's an association. I like to hope so. I like to hope so. So there they are. Here's your team. There we are, Marilee Fowler. We've got Sally. Here's Ed Gogek. We'll go through these guys. This is Seth. This is the first one I ran into. Shelly Mowry. In 2014, I'll just go back for a second. I was standing up in Fountain Hills to stand up for them to have longer hours at the dispensary. So I went to the town council meeting. And Shelly was there, paid to represent the opposition. And I saw her and I said, you know, I'm going to go ahead and just address this little gal. It was the first one I really ran after and said anything to. And I said, Shelly, do you understand that this is possibly killing cancer cells and that this is something that never took a life on record? And she just looked at me and she was like befuddled. And I said, I don't know, I gave her some other statistic and she goes, all your statistics come from High Times, I don't need to talk to you. And she ran away up the hill. And it was the funniest darn thing I ever saw. And I thought, you know, maybe we literally have these guys on the run with our good information. We have Bill Montgomery. You guys all know this guy. Bill Montgomery, and we'll get into him in a little bit. Sheila Polk, also the head of MomForce, the Yavapai County Attorney, definitely at the top. Look at this guy. This guy has reversed himself. We don't really know what he's thinking right now. This is Paul Boyer, District 20. We have a story about this guy. Now this guy's, you know, this guy used to be, this guy was a friend of mine. But I've got a problem with him right now because he's suggesting through his other initiative that possibly we should, if his initiative doesn't get on the ballot, we should just say no to the initiative I'm supporting altogether. The initiative I support gives us the ability to carry 1 ounce of marijuana legally, every single one of us. You don't need a card. It also gives you the ability to grow 6 plants for yourself. When we can do that, we can make our own tincture. Now we're off the narcotics. Now we're making our own medicine. Now it's free if we can do this, and we can do this. We can vote for this, we can get this done, and we can teach each other to make our own tincture that will replace those horrible narcotics that the doctors are putting everybody on. So that's my goal, and that's what's going on. So when this guy says no, it really upsets me. I don't mind that they want to have another initiative. I don't mind that they want to have more freedom. That's a beautiful thing. But saying no to progress for cannabis, I'm sorry, that's criminal, in my opinion. So these are the folks that we're going to talk about here, and let's get with it. Okay, so the first time I realized that we had some problem with MomForce, that they weren't just looking out for our good, is when this happened. Arizona Central ran a story that all the sheriffs and all the county attorneys agreed that they weren't going to support legalization. Well, I had just visited with Sheriff Joe, and while he wasn't supporting legalization, I really felt that he wouldn't sign this resolution to oppose that they said they had everyone's support. So I called the sheriff and I asked for another appointment. I went up there and the sheriff told me that he doesn't listen to any county attorney and that he never heard of any resolution. Nobody even asked him about it. So now I'm on alert. Now I'm like, what is this thing that they put out? I started contacting other ones. The Pima County Attorney's secretary never heard of this resolution to oppose marijuana legalization. One by one, I went through. Nobody heard of this. Nobody would step up and say they supported this. So I wrote my own resolution to support marijuana legalization. I sent it to every county attorney and sheriff in this state. Has anyone signed it? No, they haven't signed it. But I'm working hopefully on the sheriff because he seems to be the one that's been the most receptive. But when I went into this, I realized that their links, their sources were very weak. that the things that were in that resolution that they wrote up really didn't jive with what the information I actually knew and that I was getting from government sources, from our National Health Institute. It was kind of the opposite. So I thought we really need to keep our eyes on these guys. So excuse me while I have some water. So I'm keeping my eyes on them. January of this year comes around, and you know, we had this wonderful demonstration. And I have to thank Mary Jane Smokeware for putting these together. We ordered these, asked them, and we've got a couple people, actually, well, Michael's not here right now, but Mr. Kale is in there, Don Ream is in there. There's a lot of our good friends are in there. We had such a good time. We started out strong. We did another thing in Sun City, our second gathering in Sun City at the church. And, you know, I invited Bill Montgomery. I figured, why not? I invited all these officials. I always do this because I'm always hoping somebody's going to bite. Well, somebody bit. That happened. Bill Montgomery bit. About 9 o'clock on January 30th, Dave and I are out at a concert or something. I glance over at my phone. We're having a good time. And I got a tweet from Mr. Bill Montgomery. And it says, this is what one mom says, which is what Sally Schindel said. And Sally Schindel is a lady on MomForce that is traveling with them and telling her tragic story that her son did take his life from a suicide. Now, the last thing I want to do is be propelling any information that will cause anyone to be in a place like that. So I did some research. It would seem that if you have any kind of mental conditions, if anything's going on in your life where you are in a depressed state, no, marijuana doesn't mix with that necessarily. It's not exactly what should be there. But what I did find from the Cato Institute is that marijuana actually was preventing suicides in folks, especially folks her son's age. That it was kind of the opposite, and that if there are things that need to be addressed, obviously issues need to be addressed. You don't blame a substance for the issues that are happening. Again, from the National Health Institute, more studies, more conclusions. Although there was a strong association between cannabis use and suicide, this was explained by markers of psych